Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. As you can see today, we're going to unbox something very fun, especially now in the lockdown. I think we can use all the fun that we can get from stuff like this, stuff that brings us to, nice memories, in this case from our childhood. As you can see, the Super Console X Pro, this one is not really that long on the market. I don't know, we hope we're sharing here something that you don't know of yet, and something that can inspire you. Just giving you some. It was introduced in January this year, so really isn't that long on the market. But we were so lucky, nothing that you can find here in Western Europe, so we had to order this one via Amazon in China. But I must say, it really got here very fast. So anyway, so as you can see, yeah, it's the Super Console X Pro. It's supposed to look like the Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom, whatever you want to call it. And what makes this X Pro is the fact that you got a lot of memory space. This was 256 gigabyte, Mike, is that correct? Yeah. Plus you get two controllers and and a remote control, yeah. So let's just open it up. First of all, see what we can learn about this. From the box, they tell you have one Super Console, one SD card, two game controllers, HDMI cable, and power adapter. Yeah, and it is made in China. Smoothly runs 80 plus emulators, PSP, PS1, Nintendo 64, DS, and all the good stuff. So what's on the back? There you see the SD card slot, USB 1, USB 2, HDMI, the power, of course, Ethernet. And yes, it does have Ethernet. And this one is actually does have Wi-Fi even. What else we can learn from the box? I think this is it. Let's just unbox it, you guys, because as you can see, it was delivered really late at the end of the day, so it's getting dark. Me and Mike really hope to get it to work today still and explore it a little bit, and then continue this video with the more we know, the more we share. So once you've unboxed it, this is what you'll get. Like I just said, the power, the two controllers, HDMI cable, the USB hub, 3 ports, the remote controller, and of course the console itself. Something fun to mention is that it is really small, and I don't have big hands, but look, it fits perfectly in my hand. I can even fold my finger more or less around it. So the point is, it's really small and very light. So yeah, what I just shared with you here on the back. Nothing else. This button doesn't do anything, it's just for the show. This slot also. Normally on an actual Super Nintendo, this is what you do the cartridge, and this is how you reboot or restart, but so that's why it's here. Oh yeah, and then you also get the SD card in there, but then it's sealed with this little sticker. Yeah, about the controllers, what can I say? They're really, they don't feel cheap. Feels like really solid plastic, like very hard. We just had Ethiopian food. That's why my thumb is yellow. Did wash my. They all say. I did wash my hand, I promise you. That's what they all say. Yeah, no, seriously, it really feels, it feels like a nice controller. But of course it does, because they mimicked the old PlayStation controllers. So, yeah. Then of course you get.
You need to insert batteries for them to operate.
Oh yeah, they work on batteries. Yeah, so, see, there's the battery slot.
What we did in advance, because we had to wait quite some time for the console, we bought this one.
So AAA batteries too. They're not included. So Mike got us these ones. Oh, I completely forgot about these ones, you guys. Look how nice this is. This is how I actually played Super Nintendo, because I had one. Well, my older brother got one. I was still too young to have money, but he was already working in a restaurant, so he managed to get one. Anyway, yeah. So this will be the set, the Super Nintendo controller, and then the Super Nintendo itself. This one feels really, really heavy. If you guys want to keep it all, you know, in the original style, get this one. This one feels really, really good and really heavy. And look, it even has these side buttons. Love that. So remember how you grew up loving to play video games on consoles that were available then? And how sometimes you love to relive those days and those memories? But it's not always possible. And why not? Well, because either the video games are almost impossible to find or they're too old to get them working again. But more importantly, consider now super vintage and thus very expensive. And if you're lucky enough to find or buy one, it's actually a whole thing to set up and to get the image right paired with the kind of TVs that we have right now and the pixels and the whole thing. It always is a fuss, and you need to know what you're doing to fix all that up and set it up in a right way. Well, manufacturers from all around the world, but mainly Asia, I think, have solved this problem for us by creating chips that are small enough but big enough, to mimic all the good things those good old consoles used to do. So that means if you loved playing Super Nintendo World or Sonic, for example, now you don't have to go look for this game cartridge or those consoles. That is where this console comes in. They call these emulators. In the world of gaming, an emulator is a piece of software or hardware that emulates or imitates a video game console. With a video game emulator and the appropriate so-called ROMs or ISO files, it's possible to play almost any kind of retro game you'd like. So think about your old Nintendo games, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Genesis, Turbo, Neo Geo Mini, Sony PlayStation, many more. Or even the arcade games that you used to play in the arcade halls. So it's all possible with this little thing. The goal of emulation is generally to match the experience of using the original hardware, but many game emulators include extra features like options to integrate cheats, take screenshots, even stream online and create save states. And emulators also make it possible to play homebrew games or games designed by fans. Most emulators today are still made by hobbyist developers, but major companies like Nintendo have started cashing in on this retro game craze by releasing emulators for their own systems like the NES Classic and the Super NES Classic. To play a game on a console emulator, you also need a copy of the original game file, which is typically stored in the ROM, read-only memory format, that is. You can make a backup of the games you already own, and some choose the illegal way of downloading endless amounts of games in this format from the internet. There is no shortage of places where you can download emulators and ROMs from the internet to be able to play them on, for example, what we're sharing with you right now, the Super Console X Pro. This whole emulation culture is too big for companies to shut down. So what they're doing instead, they've joined the game. Now companies like Nintendo are releasing their own vintage stuff. But this whole thing is something you don't have to worry about because this Super Console X Pro comes with more than 50,000 games already installed on it. Most all the consoles can now be emulated flawlessly, but emulators for newer systems like the Xbox 360 or the Sony PSP tend to lag behind their real-life counterparts in terms of performances. Any video game console can theoretically be emulated, but there are several limitations. So when you choose an emulator console, you of course want to find one that has less as possible of these limitations. One thing is for sure, they all have them in one way or another, except of course one emulator console has less than the other. And how do you notice these limitations? Well, for example, the game tends to lag, or you see glitch, or the game is slow, or the colors are bad, or the image quality is very poor. So this super console we're sharing with you today is not the first in its kind, but it's definitely praised since it was released as one of the best so far. So guys, one thing, because we have the 256 gigabyte, how do you say that? Card. It also means that you got a card that's really like full to the rim. So what that creates is as soon as you download an update file or maybe even some artwork as a background, it means that it's jammed and you cannot do anything because it doesn't have any space to do anything at all. They do give you the 256 gigabytes, so that is true. That is what you get, that's what you pay for. And they also deliver what they say, namely, it's really, like I say, packed to the rim with games. So if you have that trouble, you might want to take out the SD card and just explore it on your laptop and see what you can take from it. Which is maybe a shame in itself because, I don't know, you want to explore also new consoles, not necessarily the ones that you only know, but something's got to give, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a look to see
where you can take off it.
Yeah, apparently the card is divided into two partitions. One is called Games, which has all the ROMs on there.
And what's the other one?
And that has 2 gigabyte available. And the other partition is called emulator, which is the program that's running.
And that one has almost 0.
98 megabytes.
Which is nothing.
89. Yeah, that's too little.
So, when you turn on your Super Console X Pro the first time, this is what you see. And I've speed it up a little bit. You see this little video. This video I show you in its entirety. Some nice cool music. Kane Hank. Games retro. And then it starts to load the system. Also, this I speed it up a little bit for you. And then the first thing you see is the system asks you to configure your controller. That's what it is. So in the box, in the controller, you have that Bluetooth connection piece. That one you have to stick in your Super Console, and that way, and also make sure that you have batteries inserted in your controller. Just turn it on and then start setting it up, configuring it so that the Super Console will know how your controller works. Basically what you see here on the screen is that they actually show you how to do it. Just mirror what you see on the screen and do that on the actual joystick. Once that's done, next thing you see is next thing you can do is go to options and then try to, I don't know, just try to set it up the way you like it, meaning have the games presented to you the way you like, you know, things like that. And also what you have to think about is setting up your internet connection, your Wi-Fi connection. So there will be a couple of steps that you have to do before you can start to enjoy this console. Like I said, nothing really too big or too complicated. The only thing that we had a little bit of trouble with is that when we wanted to update the system, we couldn't because of what we said earlier, because the SD card was just too full. There was no space for anything at all. So we couldn't do the update. So once we solved that problem, we discovered that there is actually something else that prevents us from updating the system. for that, to solve that, that's a whole story on itself. We're not going to tell you how, because there is someone that did a great job helping you solving that problem. What we're gonna do is we're gonna link that video in the description box below. So we're gonna skip the whole update issue. Just follow the steps in the video of this wonderful guy that made a beautiful video about that, the one that you will see in the description box below, and you're good to go. So when it comes to menus and setting up stuff you want to have in this console, we do want to tell you that there are different menus. So just a heads up so that you won't be confused like I was when I saw Mike pulling up all those menus. So there is a menu, for example, for sound, a menu for the connection, a menu that shows you what kind of consoles this emulator is giving you, is mimicking. There's also a menu that tells you how to do the frame that you saw earlier in this video. You know, when you're playing, sometimes on the side you have these gaps that are filled up by beautiful artwork, what they call the bezels. So there are a different couple of menus, so don't be confused by that. It's just how this system, this is how this system works. So, after the fuss we had to go through to finally update the system, this is what we saw. More like a smooth, really nice looking, fast operating console. Better colors, better graphics, no lag. And yeah, so what I'm showing you right now is just a quick run through all the consoles that are represented on this console, on the Super Console X Pro. So everything you see on the screen is playable and has games on this one. And right now, showing you the Super Nintendo games. This is just one of the ways to have the games presented to you. I think this one was called the Grid, but you can just have them ordered by a list alphabetically, or the manufacturer, you know, different kind of stuff that you can use to have them ordered in. Right now we're going to show you a little bit of an actual gameplay of Aladdin. It looks really, really nice. Again, for each game, and that's maybe the one little handicap that I tend to find on this console. For each game you have to put in the setting again. So for example, when we tried to play Aladdin, we tried to make the image look even better. but you cannot set the setting for the whole console. You have to do it per game, per console, per game. Again, this is another way to go through the games. Have them presented to you in this way. You can sometimes actually get a preview of a gameplay before, because many of the games will probably be unknown to you. So this one is really my favorite. They actually show you what you can expect in the game. And I think this one was called the carousel. Not really sure. So as you can see, even if in the preview window, no lag at all. So yes, it really is worth the trouble to have the update, to go through that. Again, you guys, directing you to the box below with the link that will guide you through the update of this system, because it is a little bit of a hassle. So what I was just telling you, have the games presented to you in a certain way. That's something that you can set up in the view options. So you have the grid, the basic, the detail, the carousel. All kind of stuff you can do here. And this is the Nintendo 64. So what you see here is the Game Boy Color. I know the actual screen looks small, but trust me guys, there are all kind of tweaks that you can do. You can find them on YouTube, all kind of tutorials that you can do to make the screen bigger. Something that we haven't had the time to do that, but we'll definitely be looking into that. Another example of an actual game play is the Game Gear. I think what you will see here is the game of Aladdin. It's really nice. This is the first time for me and Mike ever to have seen the game Aladdin on a different console other than Super Nintendo and the Genesis. So this one is on the Sega Game Gear. This is how it looks like. It's a completely different game. It looks nice and it looks smooth. Again, this is after Mike had tweaked the setting for the graphics, for the pixels. So it really is worth your time to just explore this console to the fullest and get to know all the different menus that are on this, because again, like I said, every menu can help you in one way or another. Every menu does something else. So it really is worth the time to get to know all the functions that you can get from all these different menus, to finally come to this place where you want to have this console set up in a perfect way, where the colors are right, the pixels are right, the size of the screen. And here you see Mickey Mouse again on the Game Gear. I've never seen this game in this way, never played it on this console. I did play it on the Sega Genesis. So anyway guys, I think by now it's safe to conclude that we love this console, in case that it wasn't clear yet. We love it, and we will definitely recommend it if you're looking for something to do in your free time. If you love video games, especially if you love vintage video games, if you're a kid from the 70s, the 80s, or the 90s, this one is the console for you. Really is worth the money. It's a little bit expensive, but not too much, because there are even more expensive consoles that promise to do more, but this one does it, and it does it for 128 euros. And that is if you want to go for the max combo, meaning the one that comes with 256 gigabyte memory card and over 50,000 games. This one is definitely worth the money, and we love it. We love it. Every time when you have some time in between and you just feel like, have a little fun, play a little game, just turn it on and you're good to go. Again, we love it. I cannot be more clear than I am. We love this one, and we will definitely recommend it to you. Anyone we know Get it. Guys, normally I don't do this. Not every time we do takeout, we share that with you. But just to give you an idea, because this is something that not a lot of people dare to try. Ethiopian cuisine. This is one of the first things that Mike took me when we got to know each other 100 years ago. And I must say, it really...
I thought it was 500 years ago.
Was 500? But it's really good. Look, it's mostly a lot of vegetarian stuff. Chickpeas, lentils and all that, but also a lot of barbecued meat, just delicious spices. And this is how you arrange it, like Mike is doing right now on this bread. It's just good. If you've never tried Ethiopian food, just do it, guys. Those guys have been around for ages, so I think maybe by now, you know, have perfected the crafting of making food. It smells really, really good. So yeah, Ethiopian food, yeah.
Ethiopian food.
Ethiopian food.
Ethiopian food.
Guys, it was delicious. It was really, really delicious. If you happen to be in Holland, in Amsterdam, this restaurant is called the Kilimanjaro. Look, just like that. Just like what you see here.
Technology and animation.